Today I've got a massive set of mods planned for the WRX. I've got a full set of coilovers from MCA suspension and a brand new set of wheels as well, which is going to mean a much more aggressive tyre and wheel setup on the car. So in the box we've got our pamphlet pack from MCA, and that's got all the details of the suspension, and then we have the coilovers themselves. For the wheels, I've gone with a Rota G-Force in matte bronze. They're an 18 by 8.5 with a 44 offset. They're a really nice 10-spoke, simple design with a bit of concavity to the spokes, which in my opinion looks really good. The matte bronze also looks really good. It's got a bit of a gold fleck to it, and I think it's going to work really well with the black car. I really like that matte bronze and black combination, and the sort of fleck in the wheels is going to go really well with the gold fleck in the Java black paint on the WRX. So first thing is to get these wheels loaded up, get them down to the tyre shop and get them wrapped in some new rubber. Okay, well I've had a set of Michelin Pilot Sport 5s put on the wheels. They're a 245/40, so we've got an extra 30mm width in the tyres that are currently on the car. The Pilot Sports are an excellent performance street tyre with a good reputation for both dry and wet grip. So keen to get these on the car. So this is the current wheel and tyre setup on the car. It's got a set of work emotions on it. They are 17 by 7 plus 47. So aftermarket wheels, but in the stock size. And it's got a set of 215/45 tyres on it. I actually quite like the wheels, but they just don't fill out the guards very well. And I think it's time for something a bit more aggressive. You can see here, there's just no way that this wheel and tyre combination would fit with how low the car is. All right, it's time to crack on with the install. You can see how worn my old tyres are, but look at the difference in the width of those new ones compared to the old ones. Massive. I'm going to hit each of the bolts with some of this WD-40 penetrant just to help get them off. Starting off by taking out the ABS and brake line holders. Then undoing the main bolts. Undo the top hat bolts.
Eventually.
So here's a comparison of the stock shock with the lowering spring versus the new coilover. You can see how much more compact the new coilover is. Now, because of the camber washer on the lower part of the coilover, they use a smaller bolt. So I've got to fit the provided sleeve into here. They provide a little tool for that to resize that hole. I can now fit the front coilover. And now install the lower bolts using the new one provided by MCA for the top. I can then reinstall the bolts that hold the brake line and the ABS line. So that's the first coilover installed. So in here we've got the height adjustment. You undo this Allen key to loosen it, and then you can twist it either way to raise or lower the car. So on the top there's camber adjustment, and there's also dampening adjustment, 12 different settings. Each one's got a click. I And now move on to the exciting part of putting the first wheel on. Well, that looks wicked. Sitting pretty good. I could probably bring it down a little bit more. I'm going to leave it for now until I do the others. For a bit of comparison, the bottom of the guard is now sitting at about 660. So I've come up about 30, 35 mil. But yeah, I reckon could probably drop it another 5 to 10 mil. But first, I'm going to get all the other coilovers installed and all the wheels on. So let's cut to a little time lapse.
Just make a move and break the tension. Never let me go. I can see you're skeptical. You could have a little faith, it never killed nobody. What you waiting for?
Okay, I've finally got it all done. That was a massive day, way bigger than I thought. And that very, very last bolt just tested me so much. It probably took me about 20 to 30 minutes to get that off. Impact was doing nothing. I ended up getting the handle off my jack and using that for extra leverage. Finally, it got loose. But yeah, that one was very tough to get out. But other than that, super stoked with how the car is looking and the fitment. I'm going to pack up here, probably take it for a quick little drive and just check everything. And then I've got a wheel alignment booked in a day or two. So they'll go over it properly. So once I get that done, I'll go for a proper drive, give you my thoughts on the coilovers and how it compares to the springs it had in it. And I'll show you the final fitment as well. Now that I've had the wheel alignment done, I've had a chance to get out and go for a proper drive. So now I'm going to get out and talk about how I've found the coilovers and what my thoughts are. First thing I noticed was that the ride was both harsher and softer at the same time. Now, that probably doesn't make a whole heap of sense, but what I mean by that is just regular driving, you feel the road a lot more. It is like a harsher ride, but when you hit bumps, the bump absorption and bump sensitivity is a lot better. So when you're hitting sort of more severe bumps, you're not really feeling those as aggressively as you used to with the lowered springs in before. So one example of that, there's a low bridge that I come into on a road I drive a lot, and I used to have to come down to like 30 k's an hour, otherwise you would just feel it slap through the dash. And now with the coilovers in, you can hit that at probably 60 or 70 k's an hour and it feels fine. Next thing I noticed as well is the handling has drastically improved. And I guess that's to be expected with going to a much wider tyre and wheel setup, a much better tyre. But I think the coilovers are playing a big part in that as well. The car feels a lot more planted coming through corners and it just feels just a lot more stable. And it's interesting because I used to think the car handled really well before, but it's just night and day difference with how much better the performance is. Now I have had a chance to play around with the damper settings as well. And at first I had it set up on the sort of street settings they recommended, and then I changed it to the track settings. And driving around the urban streets, I felt like I couldn't really tell a difference. So I left it in that track setting and I took it for a proper sort of spirited drive around these backcountry roads, and it became very apparent very quickly how harsh the ride was with the damper set all the way to the sort of track setting. And I only probably lasted about 20 minutes before I pulled over on the side of the road and dialed it back to the street settings, and I haven't changed it back again. And I think on the street you don't really notice the extra performance that dialing it all the way up to that track setting gives you, but you definitely notice the harshness on the sort of back roads. But overall, super stoked with how it handles now. And really, I just wish I'd made this change sooner and put the coilovers in a lot sooner, because it's just a completely different car to drive now.